As I told you, the team is strong. As they take their positions, thank you, karibuni sana. Welcome to the Second African Congress on Catholic Education. Welcome to the Catholic University of Eastern Africa. Karibuni sana, please feel comfortable. As they take their seats, you can also please feel free. I will request our chaplain, the Reverend Dr. William Kosgei, please. Karibuni sana. Once again, let's put our hands together to our guests and to the Congress. Karibuni sana to the Second African Congress on Catholic Education. Please feel welcome. Allow me, before we begin with a word of prayer, to observe the protocol today. His Eminence Jose Tolentino, Cardinal de Mendonica, Prefect of the Dicastery for Culture and Education, in absentia. He may not be joining us today. His Eminence Fridolin Cardinal Ambongo, the President of SECAM and Archbishop of Kinshasa. Your Eminence, the Cardinals, Your Excellencies, the Archbishops, Your Excellencies, the Bishops, our Vice Chancellor, the Very Reverend Professor Stephen Bogwangari, Rector and Vice Chancellor of the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, Professor Jean Paul, the Secretary General of International Foundation of Religions and Societies, all rectors and vice chancellors present, the clergy and religious leaders, keynote speakers, delegates, members of the Second African Congress Organizing Committee, members of the university staff and students present, the Catholic community around, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Second African Congress on Catholic Education, and our theme is, are you ready for it? Catholic Education and the Promotion of Signs of Hope in the African Context. So may I take this opportunity to welcome our chaplain, Father Kosgei, to kick us with a word of prayer. But before that, we'll have the national anthem and the East African anthem. So let's start. Thank you. Thank you very much. Father, please take over.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Heavenly Father, source of all wisdom and fount of every blessing, we gather before you at the opening of this Second African Congress on Catholic Education with hearts filled with gratitude and hope. Look kindly, Lord, upon the distinguished Catholic leaders, the participants and the sponsors, and all who have generously contributed to the realization of this Congress. Pour upon them your choicest blessings, renew their strength, deepen their zeal, and sustain them in their service to the Church and to the noble mission of education. Bless our reflections, conversations, and deliberations on education. Pour your Holy Spirit upon us, that we may be courageous in shaping learning environments that uplift the vulnerable, empower the young, and prepare future generations to become agents of hope, justice, and transformation. As we begin this Congress, guide our minds, steady our hearts, and make us instruments of your grace. May all we do bring glory to your holy name and contribute to a brighter, more and compassionate future for Africa. We make our prayer through Christ our Lord. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you very much, Father. Maybe we can give him a warm clap for that prayer. So once again, welcome to the Second African Congress on Catholic Education. And our theme is the Catholic education and the promotion of signs of hope in the African context. This indeed is a powerful message that we will build on as we progress from today, tomorrow, Saturday, and as we close on Sunday. Our restrooms, the main facilities are located outside the auditorium, so in case you may need to use them, please feel free. Our Wi-Fi access will be displayed shortly so that you are able to log in and stay connected. Our media team will also be sharing a barcode which you can scan and share the progress of today's deliberations with your colleagues, relatives, family members, and all those who might be interested in the discussions that will be taking place today. We have ushers, so feel free in case of any emergency also. You will be able to be assisted almost on a real-time basis. So once again, karibuni sana. Karibuni sana means welcome. So feel free, and the Catholic University of Eastern Africa is proud to host all of you today. May I take this opportunity, without much ado, to welcome our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and Student Affairs, who is also the chair of the organizing committee of this Congress. Let us put our hands together for Professor Justus Munyoki to take over the session. Karibu sana, Professor. Thank you.
His Eminence, Jose Tolentino Cardinal de Mendonça, who is the prefect of the Dicastery for Culture and Education in absentia, His Eminence Fridolini Cardinal Ambongo, the President, Second and Archbishop of Kinshasa, Your Eminence, the Cardinal and Cardinals, Your Excellencies, the Archbishops, Your Excellencies, the Bishops, Very Reverend Professor Stephen Bugwangari, the Vice Chancellor and Rector the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, Professor Jean Paul, the Secretary General of the International Foundations, Religion and Societies, all rectors present, with recognition of the rector of Tangaza, who is here with us, Professor Mwania. Vice Chancellors present also, the rector, Hekima University College, the clergy and the religious, keynote speakers present, members of the organizing committee of this conference, members of staff and students present, paper presenters, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I want to start by acknowledging our presence here. Your Excellencies, it is with great honor and humility that on behalf of the organizing committee of the Second African Congress on Catholic Education, which is being held here today, to welcome all of us to this important congregation. This is the culmination of several months of planning by this committee, and therefore we are very happy today to be able to have come this far. The committee worked very hard, worked very closely with the institutions that are co-hosting this event, which included the International Foundations, Religions and Societies, the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, Hekima University College, and Tangaza University. At this juncture, therefore, Your Excellencies, allow me to ask the organizing committee members who are present here, I know they may be outside there, but please kindly just stand up to be acknowledged by us in just 1 minute. If you are a committee member, you are in here, just step forward here, we see you, and then you can come back. Very quickly. Very quickly, just step forward in a minute. It's good to be here. A number of them are out there. Let's give a big clap to this team. They have done a great job. Thank you so much. You may resume your seats. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the theme for this Congress is Catholic education and the promotion of signs of hope in the African context. This is a very rich and timely theme that rhymes very well with the contemporary times that are affecting our continent today. We live in a continent that is quite diverse, with very rich intercultural, social, political, and economic, as well as technological diversity, which, while providing very immense opportunities, also pose major challenges to our continent. The theme, therefore, calls us to, as researchers, to seriously think on how to adjust to the main challenge that we have. It calls the researchers, the academicians, and practitioners, as well as the church leaders, to interrogate the role that the Catholic as an institution plays in terms of monitoring the education systems in Africa, so that we can begin to grow and focus on issues that affect us in the 21st century. We need to be able to adjust and to ask ourselves questions, as we'll be hearing during the presentations. We want to ask ourselves, how can the church continue to play a more central role in shaping the future of education in Africa? This can be done through our Catholic education. In fact, research evidence shows that the Catholic Church is the largest non-state provider of education in the world, with 43% of all the children that are enrolled in schools being in Africa alone. This implies that 1 out of every 9 pupils that are in primary schools in Africa today are actually going through Catholic education system in Catholic schools. This Congress challenges participants to think deeply on how the church can more strongly influence the system and enhance ethical values and give hope to our learners. In line with this theme, there will be 4 thematic areas that have been identified. 1, human dignity, fraternity, and education. This will be able to focus on discussions around the person in educational programs, listen to children and youth voice, promoting participation of the girl child and the young, women, and addressing also the boy child education, and an emphasis on the family as the primary educational environment. Secondly, the Congress will focus on common good, which provides new perspectives on economy, politics, growth, and progress, including, of course, the disadvantaged children in our society. Number 3, ecology, which will be focusing on protection and cultivation of our common homes, education, and the beauty. Finally, number 4, African cultural paradigms in education. This is an area that is going to be tackled, quite a number of presentations there, focusing on the rooting of education in local African culture. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have various forms, including presentations, including guest speakers, keynote speeches, and all that. This is going to happen between today and Saturday while we conclude. So I invite all of us to be able to participate. As I finish, allow me to, in a very special way, to sincerely thank and appreciate our local organizing teams, our institutions, the Catholic University, the Vice Chancellor. You have been very supportive of the team and the management here. We appreciate the role that has been played by Tangasa University Vice Chancellor. Accept our gratitude. You have supported us through your teams here, and the Hekima principal. I think you have done great. I want to thank finally the team that has been organizing. You have seen the team here. This has been a lot of commitment. We are grateful to all of you. Once again, I welcome all of you to this conference. Asanteni sana. So having said this, it's now my singular opportunity to welcome the principal, Hekima University College, who was actually a co-chair to this undertaking, Reverend Dr. Mesel Uniweza, to come and make your remarks. Then you invite the next speaker. Karibu sana, Father. Let's give a clap to him as he comes.
Your Eminence Fridolin, Cardinal Abongo, the President of SECAM, the Archbishop of Kinshasa, Your Eminence Antoine Cardinal Kambanda, the Archbishop of Kigali, and Your Eminence Protas Cardinal Rugambwa, the Archbishop of Tabora, Your Graces, Archbishops present, and Your Excellencies and the bishops here, Very Reverend Professor Stephen Mbugwa Ngari, the Vice Chancellor and Rector of the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, Very Reverend Professor Patrick Mwania, the Rector and Vice Chancellor of the Tangaza University, and Professor Jean-Paul, Secretary General of the International Foundation of Religions and Society. And allow me to stop there and say all protocols observed. It is a profound joy and a moment of deep grace for us as Hekima University College, alongside the other two Catholic institutions, to welcome you to this second African Congress on Catholic Education, held here at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, on the theme Catholic Education and Promotion of the Science of Hope in the African Continent. This Congress brings together our shepherds, educators and thinkers and dreamers, not only for a routine gathering, but for a historic moment of discernment, to use a Jesuit terminology. And as Chinua Achebe reminds us in one of his books, when the moon is shining, the cripple becomes hungry for a walk. Today, the church in Africa stands beneath such a bright moon, and we want to walk. This Congress is a radiant African moment, summoning each of us to rise, to walk together in synodality, and to renew our common mission in Catholic education. Chinua Achebe teaches us that when a community gathers, its warriors do not come armed with weapons, but with wisdom, with purpose, and a shared future. Today, Africa's warriors of hope are gathered here. Over the next few days, we shall reflect on the themes that speak directly to the heart of our continent's challenges and possibilities. Human dignity, common good, fraternity, ecology, African cultural paradigms, the formation of youth, reconciliation, and the mission of Catholic universities. We shall engage in complex realities of our times. The changing technological shifts with artificial intelligence, ecological fragility, post-conflict wounds, ongoing conflicts, and the persistent inequalities that burden many of our communities. But as we gather, we may also want to echo the recent SECAM vision in Kigali. We gather today carrying the fresh inspiration of the recent SECAM assembly in Kigali, which I followed with great joy, where our African shepherds, led by His Eminence Cardinal Bongo, reflected deeply on the wounds and hopes that shape our continent. In Kigali, SECAM reaffirmed that education is one of Africa's most decisive missionary frontiers. The Assembly insisted that the Church must form young people capable of healing memories, resisting manipulation, engaging technology ethically, and becoming artisans of peace. The message of SECAM in Kigali was clear. Africa cannot surrender her youth to despair or cultural invasion. The Church must remain mother, prophet, and companion, teaching truth, promoting justice, and working with young people towards a horizon where hope is not an abstract idea, but a lived reality. The spirit of Kigali continues in this Congress, strengthening our resolve to make Catholic education a genuine sign of hope for an Africa in need of a new world order. Hekima University College participation here is, we are honored to contribute to this vision. We are humbled that our faculty and students actively are involved in this Congress, and many of them will be contributing through presentations and also through their organizing of this conference. And allow me to add this conviction from our Jesuit tradition. Jesuit education has always sought not only to form the mind, but to ignite the soul, awakening in every learner a disciplined and rigorous intellect, a generous heart, and a courageous commitment to the service of faith and the promotion of justice. And as the African proverb puts it beautifully, si les racines sont solides, on n'a pas besoin d'avoir peur du vent. If the roots are solid enough, we have no reason to fear the wind. We hope that our Jesuit tradition will contribute at the service of the Church to this depth, to a world in need of depth, since we are filled with a lot of superficiality. As I conclude, dear friends, to our eminences, we meet at a critical time in Africa's history. Our children confront social and economic fragilities, challenging cultural landscapes, and many of them die in the seas looking for greener pastures. If the signs of the times appear heavy, the signs of hope are even heavier with possibility, because we continue to believe in a God who offers promises. The future of Africa will be shaped in classrooms, in chaplaincies, in universities and formation houses, places where the gospel must become a light for minds, a nourishment for hearts, and Catholic education must therefore be bold. Bold in imagination, bold in compassion, bold in the frontiers where no one wants to go, bold in fidelity to the gospel, and bold in forming persons capable not just of surviving the world, but capable of transforming the world. As we open this Congress, let us dare to dream together. An Africa where every learner discovers their dignity, where Catholic schools and universities form not only minds but also transform hearts, where faith and reason work together to heal wounds, where indigenous wisdom will enrich our pedagogy, and where ecological conversion shapes our future, as our beloved late Pope kept inviting us, and where the gospel becomes a living fire illuminating every space of society. This Congress, I believe, will be remembered far beyond our time, not only for what we discuss, but most importantly, for what we commit ourselves to build it together. On behalf of Hekima University College and the Jesuit tradition, I welcome to each of you with gratitude and joy. May the Holy Spirit guide our conversations, inspire our collaborations, and may Mother Mary, the Queen of Africa, guide us. Karibuni sana, bienvenue, welcome, and may God bless Africa. Thank you very much. And now it is my singular honor to invite the Rector and Vice Chancellor of Tangaza University to welcome you to this Congress. Reverend Mwania.
Thank you so much, my brother, Dr. Wineza. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to ride on the already established protocols. Your Eminences, Your Excellencies, Reverend Fathers, Sisters and Brothers, distinguished scholars, educators, and honored guests. On behalf of Tangaza University, it is my profound joy to welcome you to this Second African Congress on Catholic Education. This gathering brings together the pastoral vision of the Church, the intellectual strength of the Academy, and Africa's deep reservoirs of hope. We are deeply grateful to the Dicastery for Catholic Education for entrusting the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, Tangaza University, Hekima College, International Foundation, Religion and Societies, as well as Institute for African Compact on Education, with the privilege of organizing and hosting the Second Continental Congress. Your confidence in our institutions inspires us to serve Africa's Catholic educational mission with dedication and creativity. I also wish to thank the teams from the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, from Tangaza University and Hekima University College, whose tireless efforts have made this Congress possible. Your dedication and collaboration are the backbone of this event. May we give an applause to this great team. Tangaza University stands as a hub for theological, pastoral, and human formation, preparing priests, religious and lay leaders and professionals for ethical and servant leadership. Guided by our motto, teaching minds, touching hearts, and transforming lives, we are committed to forming leaders capable of responding to Africa's pastoral, social, and ethical challenges with wisdom, courage, and compassion. Our theme for this Congress, Catholic Education and the Promotion of Signs of Hope in the African Context, is timely. Despite the challenges we face, economic instability, youth unemployment, conflict, ecological pressures, and ethical crisis, Africa remains a land of profound promise. The resilience of our communities, the richness of our cultures, and the faith and creativity of our young people show that hope is real and active. Guided by the Pope Francis's Global Compact on Education, we are called to form persons capable of fraternity, solidarity, ecological responsibility, and peace. Our task is to interpret this vision through the African lens, our history, our spiritual heritage, and our communal realities. This Congress, therefore, seeks to, 1, contextualize the global compact within African realities, and 2, affirm Catholic education as a sign of hope for Africa's future, and then share experiences of innovation, resilience, and good practice, as well as foster collaboration across ecclesial and academic institutions. Africa stands at a defining moment. With one of the world's youngest populations, the responsibility we bear is immense. If we form this generation well, academically, morally, spiritually, Africa will not just develop, it will flourish. Catholic education must remain a home where young people encounter truth, embrace dignity, and cultivate the values that build just and peaceful societies. As Tangaza University, we renew our commitment to this mission, forming leaders who think critically, believe deeply, and serve generously. Leaders who embody an African educational humanism that is authentically Catholic and profoundly hopeful. May this Congress be a moment of grace and inspiration. May our conversations strengthen our shared mission, and may the Holy Spirit guide us as we work together to make Catholic education a radiant sign of hope for Africa. Thank you, and I wish you a fruitful and transformative Congress. In those few opening remarks, on behalf of Tangaza University, I wish now to take this opportunity to invite our host, Vice Chancellor and Rector, Very Reverend Professor Mbugua Gary Stephen, to come and address us. You're welcome, Professor.
Thank you very much, Professor Mwania. His Eminence Jose Torrentino Cardinal de Mendonca, Prefect of the Dicastery for Culture and Education in absentia, but his message will be read today together with the message of His Holiness, the Pope Leo XIV, His Eminence Fridolin Cardinal Bongo, President of SICAM and Archbishop of Kinshasa, Your Eminences the Cardinals, Your Excellencies the Archbishops, Your Excellencies the Bishops, Very Reverend Dr. Anthony Makunde, the General Secretary of the AMASEA, Professor Jean Paul, Secretary General of the International Foundation of Religions and Societies, all rectors and vice chancellors present, the clergy and the religious, keynote speakers, members of the Second African Congress Organizing Committee, members of the university family, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am very humbled to welcome Your Eminences, Your Excellencies, priests, scholars, to this auspicious conference on education and the Church, with the theme Catholic Education and the Promotion of Signs of Hope in the African Context. I'm very pleased to welcome you on behalf of the Catholic University family to the Catholic University of Eastern Africa. Please feel at home. This is your university. This is where you belong and you're right at home. And we look forward even to your visit of our university at one of the times. Your Eminences and all the distinguished guests, I wish to let you know that yesterday we finished a conference and a board meeting of the African Center of Excellence in Theology and Canon Law. We had the board meeting on Monday, and Tuesday and Wednesday we finished our conference just to empty into this Congress. And this is our continuous work to ensure that Catholic education promotes the signs of the times and gives hope to the people through the scholars who we are training through the award of the PhDs in theology and canon law. The board is present here with us, and we are very happy that we are here, and the board is represented by all the regions of the African continent. So we are very happy that this Congress comes at an opportune time, that even those scholars from various countries in Africa are able to attend this to enrich their scope of their impact on education, faith, and the human development. We are all products of education, and without it, we could be very different, and our impact in various fronts we serve could have been different. I therefore congratulate you on embracing education and becoming agents of the same to the Church and the world over. The Catholic Church has always viewed education as a sacred mission, rooted in the beliefs that every human person is created in the image of God and called to the fullness of truth. SECAM has also fronted this very much in their call for education, their call for transformative education that would also transform the African continent in terms of governance, peace, and mutual respect. Today, in a rapidly changing world marked by cultural fragmentation, wars, climate change threats, technological upheaval, and moral uncertainty, the Church proposes what Pope Francis calls Global Compact on Education. This compact is not merely a policy initiative, but a spiritual, cultural, and social commitment to rebuild the foundations of human formation in Africa and globally. Pope Leo XIV views education in Africa as a critical tool for promoting dignity, justice, and hope, and a mission for the entire Church to undertake, especially for the poor. He calls for the expansion of Catholic education and emphasizes its role in addressing poverty, forming the whole person, while also acknowledging the need to improve the affordability and social inclusivity of the Catholic schools. He also encourages the use of digital tools while warning against their misuse, and stresses the importance of developing African youth and providing them with both formal education and opportunities in the digital world. This gathering of church leadership, scholars, and all the participants shall delve into the role of the African Church in transforming the minds and attitudes of education, not just as a cognitive understanding, but as a formative agent. Such an approach shall change the geopolitical landscape in education, ethical leadership and conduct, good governance, and recognition and upholding the human dignity in both technological, research, and human development. These are the dimensions that Pope Leo XIV emphasizes as a solution to the African situation. Pope Francis repeatedly emphasized that education must be a communal act. In his address launching the Global Compact on Education, he reminds us of the African proverb, "It takes a village to raise a child," insisting that parents, educators, religious leaders, institutions, and society must work together. For Francis, the compact aims to place the human person at the center, promote fraternity, and foster a new culture of encounter. Education, he argues, must heal the fractures in humanity by forming hearts, not just minds. Reliance on cognitive and intellectual abilities without the effective faith, goodness of human nature shall never meet the holistic need for education in these fragile times and seasons of the earth that are fueled by negative competition, materialism, proliferation of weapons, among others. This vision is deeply rooted in the Church's intellectual tradition. St. Thomas Aquinas, in the Summa Theologiae, teaches that education is a process of leading one from potentiality to actuality, helping the human person to flourish in virtue and knowledge. He also reminds us that true education forms the whole person, intellect, will, and affection towards the pursuit of truth and goodness. Similarly, St. John Henry Newman, in the idea of the university, highlights that education is not simply the transfer of information, but the cultivation of integrated, well-formed mind. Newman insists that a Catholic education must develop both faith and reason, for knowledge is one, unified by the truth of God. His vision anchors the modern Catholic understanding that intellectual formation and spirituality maturity cannot be separated. The African institutions of higher learning need to enhance a framework where education will transform the societies, governments, intellectuals, among others, into a family of brotherhood and sisterhood that forms a formidable alliance towards the continent's common good. The Church has further elaborated this mission in modern documents. The Second Vatican Council's Gravissim Educationis emphasizes the right to education belongs to every human being, and that the Church has a duty to form the young in moral, intellectual, and spiritual directions. It calls Catholics institutions to create environments where faith informs every aspect of learning. Pope Benedict XVI also offered significant reflection on the educational crisis of our times. It addresses to the in addressing the educators, he warned that relativism makes authentic formation difficult because without reference to objective truth, education becomes directionless. Benedict argued that true teaching must help students discover the joy of truth and cultivate a moral conscience aligned with God's design. And this must also form the African leadership and the global governance systems to ensure that the joy of the truth and the moral conscience is aligned with God's design. In light of these foundations, the Education Compact in the Catholic Church calls us to renewal. It invites families, schools, religious congregations, and society to collaborate in forming young people capable of dialogue, solidarity, and moral courage. It challenges Catholic institutions to integrate faith, culture, and life so that education becomes a transformative encounter with the truth and charity, where modeling becomes the agency of this transformation. In essence, the church's education is a call to rebuild the human family in Africa today through formation that unites faith and reason, love and responsibility, accountability and tradition, and encounter in all one political and spiritual and educational bowl. Guided by great thinkers from Aquinas to Newman, from Vatican II to Benedict and Francis to Leo XIV, the Church continues its mission to form hearts that love the truth and minds that seek the good for the glory of God and the renewal of the world. Thank you very much, and God bless you, and again welcome to the Catholic University of Eastern Africa. I wish to welcome at this moment Professor Jean Paul, the Secretary General of the International Foundation, Religious and Societies, to come and lead us in the next session.
Thank you very much, very Reverend Rector and Vice Chancellor, Professor Stephen Mbugua-Ngari, Vice Chancellor and Director of this Catholic University of Eastern Africa. Now, I would like to introduce the following speech, which comes from His Eminence José Tolentino Cardinal de Mendonça, Prefect of the Dicastery for Culture and Education. This message will be delivered by His Eminence Antoine Cardinal Kambanda, Archbishop of Kigali, and member of this Dicastery for Culture and Education. Cardinal Protaz Rugambwa.
Your Eminences, Your Excellencies, Dear brothers and sisters, educators, students and friends, I would first like to express my regret at not being able to be physically present for reasons beyond my control at this important Continental Congress. However, I'm equally happy to be able to be present, even if only spiritually, through these words of greeting and encouragement. With this African Congress on Catholic Education, Africa not only receives an educational project, but regenerates it. Here, the insights, struggles, and hopes of the African peoples become a decisive contribution to the educational mission of the African Church. From the outset, I wish to express my heartfelt gratitude to Cardinal Antoine Kambanda, whose clear vision, along with so many collaborators, has guided the path of the African Compact on Education from its inception. As he himself stated, the African Compact on Education is the result of a collective and ecclesial commitment born from the contributions of pastors, researchers, communities, and field workers across the continent. Point number one, the light of the Jubilee of World Education, Constellations of Hope, at the end of October and beginning of November 2025, we celebrated the Jubilee of World Education in Rome on the theme, Constellations of Hope. Thousands of students, teachers, school administrators, and educators from around the world, and many from Africa, reaffirmed that education remains the greatest force for generating the future. On that occasion, Pope Leo XIV inaugurated a new era in education, rekindling the legacy of Gravissimum Educationis and the Patto Educativo Globale, but also indicating 3 new objectives for our time. He did so by publishing the apostolic letter, drawing new maps of hope, in which the Church is invited to recognize that every school is a star illuminating the sky of humanity. Yet, the Pope says, a star alone is not enough. If it remains isolated, it is just a point in the universe. If it's networked with other stars, constellations are drawn. It is necessary to draw constellations, networks, alliances, bridges between peoples and cultures. What is being celebrated in Nairobi these days is precisely this, an African constellation of hope. Number 2, Africa, its educational tradition and its philosophy of life. Africa does not start from scratch. Africa has an educational treasure to offer the Church and the world. The African educational tradition is profoundly communal. The principle dear to the Ubuntu philosophy echoes in every people on the continent. I am because we are. Education is never an individual act. It's a communal, ritual, spiritual, and narrative process. It is a journey made of proverbs, wisdom, oral tradition, testimony, dance, and shared experience. In African pedagogy, the community shapes individuals. The elders pass on memory, according to an African proverb, When an elder dies, a library burns. Spiritual permeates daily life, and education is always linked to the land, the body, the word, and the sacred. This is why the African proverb, "It takes an entire village to educate a child," is not just a phrase, it's a paradigm. Cardinal Kambanda recalls that it is precisely this community vision that inspires the African Compact. Pastors, scientists, families, young people, local and international experts work together for a shared project. Number 3. Cardinal Kambanda's 3 fundamental insights. Allow me now to return to the 3 pillars that Cardinal Kambanda outlined in his speech at the International Congress on Education during the Jubilee of World Education, and which are highly relevant today. A. Educating for the challenges of today and tomorrow. In many regions of the continent, education remains a difficult journey. Lack of schools, precarious conditions, uneducated curricula, exclusion of girls, lack of spirituality, widespread poverty. But says the Cardinal, precisely for these reasons, education becomes the first form of healing, reconciliation, and a future. B. The educational village. No one educates alone. School is not enough without the family. The family is not enough without the community. The community is not enough without the church. C. A new educational alliance for social transformation. It's not about maintaining what exists, but about transforming it. Cardinal Kambanda speaks of a new alliance between all the continent's stakeholders capable of generating and reconciled sportive and fraternal society. Number 4, the Global Education Pact. 3 new goals to inculcate in Africa during the Jubilee of World Education. Pope Leo XIV relaunched the Global Education Pact, maintaining the 7 fundamental goals and adding 3 new ones, born precisely from dialogue with young people and arising from the new challenges of our time. These 3 goals find particularly fertile ground in African culture. 1. Educating for interior life, the heart of hope. During World Youth Day and the Jubilee of Young People, the Global Educational Pact Committee of our dicastery interviewed thousands of young people. When asked, "What do you dream of for the education of the future?" the majority responded, "Education for the interior life." The Pope, in his address to students gathered in Paul VI Hall during the Jubilee of World Education, commented, "It is not enough to have great knowledge if we do not know who we are and what the meaning of life is. Without science, without listening, without prayer, even the stars go out." This insight resonates deeply in African philosophy, where all learning is also a spiritual journey. Africa does not separate rationality and spirituality. It does not separate the mind from the heart. It does not separate knowledge from ritual. Inculcating this first new objective means rediscovering the meaning of silence, rediscovering the value of meditation and prayer, helping young people understand who they are, offering a place to heal inner emptiness. 2, generating a digital human, being prophets, not internet tourists. The Pope said in the same speech to students, do not let algorithm write your story. Do not be internet tourists, but prophets of the digital world. Africa is already among the regions of the world with the fastest digital growth. Yet, the challenge is not technology, but the humanity of technology. Encapsulating this objective means preventing new forms of digital exclusion, training young people capable of critical and creative use, integrating African values, communion, spirituality, harmony into new digital ecosystems, and promoting a digital education that unites rather than isolates. Africa must not be merely a consumer of digital technology. It must become a producer, creator, and protagonist. Number 3, educating for peace, disarmed and disarming peace. The Pope stated, it's not enough to silence weapons. We must disarm hearts. In many regions of Africa, peace is not an abstract concept. It is an urgent need, a wound, a desire, a responsibility. African wisdom is well versed in the art of reconciliation, the shared word, the council of elders, community healing, the restoration of communion. Inculcating this goal means educating people in non-violent language, training them in inter-ethnic and inter-religious dialogue, creating schools where diversity is a blessing and not a threat, and shaping young people who are community builders. Peace is an education of the heart, even before it's an education of structures. Number 5, the Institute for African Compact on Education, a laboratory for the future. Cardinal Kambanda, in his speech, clearly stated that the Institute exists to prevent the Global Compact on Education from remaining on paper. It supports research, trains leaders, creates local multipliers, offers technical assistance, and above all, gives voice to African cultures in the global debate on education. Challenges abound. Scarcity of resources, lack of attention from international academia, questions related to the new digital culture. But the Institute represents the missing bridge between research and real life, between the local church and the universal church, between Africa and the world. Number 6, Nairobi 2025, building new constellations. The Nairobi 2025 Congress is not a technical event, but a spiritual moment, an ecclesial act, a call to responsibility. In Africa, home to the youngest part of the world's population, every school is a frontier of hope, and every educator in a builder of peace. I would like to recall here the words of Pope Francis that he addressed to you when you presented him with an African educational pact. quote, "You brothers are the shepherds of the youngest continent in the world. Your greatest worth is precisely they, the young people. I urge you to listen to the voices of young people and their ideas. Without authoritarianism, the Spirit also speaks through them, and I am sure that they will be able to suggest beautiful and surprising things to you. May you invest your best energies in their education." The Jubilee of World Education has reminded us that we live under the same sky and that every educational institution is a star, but only together do we form constellations. Conclusion. Allow me to conclude by looking at three great figures who illuminate our educational journey. First, St. John Henry Newman, whom Leo Pope the 14th proclaimed at the very end of the Jubilee of World Education, a new doctor of the Church and co-patron of education. Newman reminds us that education means accompanying each person toward the full truth, toward that harmonious synthesis between faith and reason, between conscience and freedom, which is the heart of Christian humanism. May his intercession make our schools and universities through laboratories of wisdom, places where young people learn not only to know more, but to become more. I would also like to evoke the figure of Julius Kambarage Nyerere, the father of the Tanzanian nation, whose beatification process is underway today. Nyerere was not only a far-sighted statesman, he was an educator, a teacher, a man who believed that the development of people comes first and foremost through education. His vision, which harmonized social justice, community, sobriety, respect for tradition, and openness to the world, represents a shining example of how politics, when at the service of humanity, becomes popular pedagogy. We must also not forget African ecclesial figures who placed education at the center of their pastoral mission. I think, among others, of Cardinal Laurian Rugambwa, the first African cardinal of the modern era, who foresaw the need to train and nurture African leadership capable of serving local churches and society with competence, faith, and responsibility. In the field of education, his contribution was decisive. He considered education the most effective means to promote the dignity of the person and foster the social and spiritual redemption of communities. For this reason, he resolutely supported schools, educational institutions, and programs of human and Christian growth. Thanks to witnesses like him, Africa has understood that education is the most precious seed to entrust to the land of the future. And now, turning to our common mother, I wish to entrust this Congress and with its journey of the African Compact, the work of the Institute, the dreams of young people, and the dedication of their educators to the intercession of Mary, Mother of Africa. May she who bore the word made flesh in her womb, and who brought the teacher per excellence to Africa in her womb during the flight into Egypt, accompany every teacher and every student in the daily adventure of learning. May she protect the peoples of this continent, protect families, children, and young people, and make every small educational gesture fruitful so that it may become a light for the entire world. And like the stars that guide the traveler in the night, may Mary help us to draw new constellations of hope and to trace together the luminous maps of future. Thank you, Cardinal José Tolentino de Mendoza.
Thank you, Your Eminence, for this reading. Now it is a great pleasure for me to invite His Eminence Fridolin Cardinal Ambongo, Archbishop of Kinshasa and the President of SECAM, to deliver the message of His Holiness Pope Leo XIV. Your Eminence.
À son Excellence, Monseigneur Gabriel Sayaougo, co-président sud de la Fondation internationale Religion et Société, Nairobi. Sa Sainteté, le pape Léon XIV, vous adresse ses cordiales salutations alors que vous êtes réunis pour le Congrès africain de l'éducation catholique depuis la promotion du pacte éducatif africain et sa remise au pape François en juin 2023. La Fondation internationale Religion et Société n'a pas cessé de mener des réflexions et des activités pour une véritable promotion de l'éducation en Afrique. Le thème que vous avez choisi cette année, éducation catholique et promotion des signes de l'espérance dans le contexte africain, s'inscrit dans cette vision de redynamisation de l'éducation catholique. Le pape Léon XIV s'est réjoui de votre engagement et de votre volonté de mener à bien ces pactes qui tenaient à cœur le pape François. Votre rencontre revêt une importance majeure en cette année jubilaire et répond à l'invitation lancée à tous de prendre soin des jeunes, des étudiants, des jeunes générations avec une passion renouvelée. À travers le thème de votre congrès, vous montrez combien l'éducation générale et catholique en particulier peut répondre aux nombreux défis auxquels le continent africain est confronté.
The particularity of the English of Catholic education is founded on Christ. It is also the heart full of love and attention towards so that
selon
they
les
will be
desseins
able
de Dieu.
to build a better
Ils sont
future.
nombreux, les jeunes,
There are
qui,
many young
poussés
people
par le
who,
désespoir,
because
laissent les
of
continents au péril
lack
de leur
of
vie
hope,
à la
they
recherche d'un avenir
leave the
meilleur.
continent to go out
Dans
to
cette
search for greener
situation
pastures.
dramatique,
In this
vous
dramatic
pouvez réfléchir à la
situation,
manière
you can reflect
de
on the
raviver chez
method
cette jeunesse
that you can
africaine
revitalize
la
this
certitude
African youth.
que
The
rien n'est
certainty
perdu,
that nothing is lost.
à condition qu'elle soit accompagnée par des personnes
If
qui
they are
l'aident
accompanied
à
by
découvrir
people
ses
who
talents
can
cachés
discover their hidden
et
talents
à nourrir
and
de grandes
to
ambitions
nourish
en s'inspirant des valeurs et des
ambitions
atouts
while
dont
being
regorge
inspired
l'Afrique.
by
Promouvoir
values
les signes
from
d'espérance
Africa.
sur le continent,
Promoting
c'est aussi
values
aider les jeunes
in
à
the
veiller
continent
à
is
la
building
sauvegarde de la
the
famille
youth, helping
et
them to safeguard the family
à
and
la concevoir
to-
telle que le Créateur l'a voulu et que l'Église la promeut. En la protégeant de la menace
also
des idéologies
protecting them
destructrices
from the
véhiculées
threats
par
of
notre
different
monde.
anti-values that are being
C'est dans les
transmitted
familles
in our world
que
today.
s'est construit
It is
l'avenir
in
du
the family
peuple.
that the future
L'Église
of
nous
the
dit que le
people
monde
is
d'aujourd'hui
constructed. The church
a
shows us
besoin
that the
de
world
l'alliance
today
conjugale
needs
pour connaître et
the
accueillir
conjugal,
l'amour de
the
Dieu et
marital
surmonter
alliance to have
par sa force
a
qui
stable
s'unit et
society
réconcilie
that
les forces
is
qui
united
désagrègent
and
les
reconciled.
relations
A
et les
force
sociétés.
that helps to build the society and
Aujourd'hui,
relations.
de nombreux
Today,
dirigeants
many
et responsables
leaders
politiques
who are
africains
irresponsible
ont
in
été formés
Africa
dans nos écoles.
have been formed in our
Mais la
schools.
situation sur
But
le
the
continent reste
situation on the
critique
continent
à
is very
plusieurs
critical
niveaux.
at different
Pour
levels.
relever ces
To
défis,
be able to
le
take
pape
up
vous
this
invite
challenge, the
à
Pope
réveiller le
invites
sens
you
de la
to
solidarité
awaken the sense
et
of
l'esprit de
solidarity
sacrifice
and the
chez les
spirit of
jeunes de nos
sacrifice
institutions.
among the youth
Deux
in our
richesses que votre
institutions,
continent
and to lead the continent.
Deux richesses de votre
The
continent.
wealth of your
Il est
continent.
essentiel
It is
de
essential
redécouvrir ces valeurs que l'enseignement catholique transmettra en formant des personnes attentives aux autres et respectueuses du bien commun. Ainsi, le continent peut espérer voir s'élever une nouvelle génération d'ambassadeurs de la paix pour que notre monde redécouvre la beauté de l'amour, du vivre ensemble et de la fraternité. Vous avez donc la responsabilité d'aider les acteurs de l'éducation catholique à toujours repartir du Christ et à découvrir que l'éducation n'est pas seulement un emploi, mais une mission évangélisatrice. Ils pourront alors répondre efficacement aux attentes de ceux dont ils ont la charge et faire d'eux des acteurs dont le continent a besoin pour son développement. Le pape Léon XIV vous remercie pour tout le bien que vous avez fait et que vous faites encore en vue de l'enracinement de l'éducation catholique en Afrique. Il confie vos travaux aux motions de l'Esprit Saint afin qu'il vous inspire des décisions pour le bien du continent et de sa jeunesse. Sa sainteté vous accorde de tout cœur la bénédiction apostolique. Cardinal Pietro Parolin, secrétaire d'État de sa sainteté.
Thank you very much, Your Eminence. Now I would like to take this time to express our thanks from the International Foundation of Regions and Society, the message which is inspired and comes from His Excellency Archbishop Gabriel Sayaogo, Archbishop of Kupela in Burkina Faso, and Co-President South of the International Foundation, Religion and Society, and I will deliver this short message, if you want, in French, but it will be very short. It is, Recevez les salutations fraternelles et chaleureuses de son Excellence Monseigneur Gabriel Sayaogo, archevêque de Kupela au Burkina Faso et co-président sud de la Fondation internationale Religion et Société, ainsi que celle de tous les acteurs du pacte éducatif africain. Il m'a chargé de vous présenter ses excuses, car pour des raisons indépendantes de sa volonté, il n'a pas pu être présent à ce grand événement ecclésial et éducatif. Je vous salue également au nom de son Excellence Bernard Laurent Taillard, président de l'Alliance intermonastère et coprésident nord de la Fondation internationale Religion et Société, ici présent. J'aimerais l'inviter à se lever et saluer ceux qui sont là. Remerciements. Dans le cadre de ce deuxième congrès africain de l'éducation catholique qui se tient à l'Université catholique d'Afrique de l'Est, la Fondation internationale Religion et Société exprime sa profonde gratitude au Saint-Père, le pape Léon XIV, pour sa sollicitude apostolique dont il a témoigné lors de l'audience privée qu'il leur a accordée le 7 novembre 2025 et pour son message d'encouragement et de proximité apostolique qu'il a bien voulu adresser aux participants à cet événement de l'espérance pour l'Église et les peuples d'Afrique. La Fondation exprime sa reconnaissance à son éminence José Tolentino, cardinal de Mendonça, préfet du Dicaster pour la culture et l'éducation, pour sa considération du travail et de l'engagement de la Fondation en faveur de l'éducation catholique en Afrique. La Fondation exprime sa profonde gratitude à son éminence Fridolin cardinal Ambongo, président du CHEAM, dont l'engagement personnel au sein de la Fondation au service de l'éducation catholique est historique. La Fondation remercie l'Église sœur du Kenya ainsi que les églises de la région de l'Afrique de l'Est pour leur hospitalité fraternelle, catholique et africaine. La Fondation internationale Religion et Société remercie le très révérend père, professeur Stephen Mbugua Ngari, recteur et vice-chancelier de l'Université catholique d'Afrique centrale, qui nous accueille dans cette prestigieuse salle de conférence. La Fondation exprime également sa profonde gratitude au très révérend professeur Patrick Moania, recteur et vice-chancelier de l'Université Tangaza. Elle exprime sa gratitude aussi au très révérend père Dr Marcel Neza, le directeur de Hekima University College. Elle remercie ces trois institutions universitaires catholiques qui ont accepté d'organiser avec la Fondation ce deuxième congrès africain de l'éducation catholique. Après le premier, qui a eu lieu en décembre 2023 à l'Université catholique de l'Afrique de l'Ouest à Abidjan, en Côte d'Ivoire, et dont le témoin est ici présent en la personne de son Excellence Monseigneur Jacques Assanvo Ahiwa, dont je demande qu'il se lève pour saluer le public. La Fondation exprime sa gratitude à Monsieur le professeur Justus Munyoke, le vice-chancelier chargé des affaires académiques et des étudiants dans l'Université catholique d'Afrique de l'Est, pour avoir présidé et coordonné les équipes des 3 universités qui ont préparé cet événement continental, dont la qualité témoigne de leur efficacité et de leur dévouement. Son Excellence Monseigneur Sayaogo, coprésident de la Fondation internationale Religion et Société, exprime sa profonde gratitude à tous les participants venus de différents pays d'Afrique et des différents continents, Amérique et Europe, pour honorer ce grand événement ecclésial et éducatif. Il exprime sa profonde gratitude aux éminents cardinaux ici présents. Il exprime également sa profonde gratitude aux éminents et excellences évêques ici présents et qui n'ont cessé de cheminer en faveur du pacte éducatif africain. Ici sont mentionnés son Excellence Monseigneur Fulgence Muteba, archevêque de Lubumbashi et président de la Conférence nationale des évêques du Congo, ainsi que son Excellence Monseigneur Ernesto Magenge, évêque d'Inyambane au Mozambique, qui représente la partie lusophone de l'Afrique. Il exprime aussi sa gratitude à son Excellence Monseigneur Moses Chikwe, qui est en charge de l'éducation et qui représente ici le grand pays, le Nigeria, ainsi que le monde anglophone. Son Excellence Monseigneur Gabriel Sayaogo exprime sa gratitude aux délégations des universités catholiques, partenaires du pacte éducatif africain, dont le nombre ici présent s'élève à plus de 12 universités catholiques représentées ici. Il exprime aussi sa gratitude aux différents coordinateurs nationaux venus de différents pays pour suivre les travaux de ce 2e congrès africain de l'éducation catholique. Son Excellence Monseigneur Gabriel Sayaogo a une pensée toute particulière et il exprime sa gratitude à la professeure Mary Guetui, à la docteure Béatrice Choulou, au révérend père professeur Richard Ruiza, par lesquels ce congrès est arrivé à Nairobi. Je vous invite à les applaudir. Son Excellence Monseigneur Gabriel rappelle qu'il s'agit d'une étape parmi les plusieurs étapes qui ont conduit les travaux en faveur de l'éducation catholique de différents pays et dans les différentes universités. Et il cite les rencontres dans les universités catholiques du Rwanda, les rencontres dans les universités catholiques d'Afrique centrale à Yaoundé au Cameroun, les rencontres et la signature et la présentation du pacte éducatif africain à Kinshasa, à Nairobi, grâce aux travaux qui ont eu lieu à l'Université catholique du Congo. Il rappelle aussi l'Université catholique d'Afrique de l'Ouest qui a reçu le dernier congrès portant sur l'éducation catholique. En nous réunissant ici à Nairobi, nous sommes conscients que 43% des institutions d'éducation catholique dans le monde se trouvent en Afrique. En acceptant d'affronter avec espérance les aléas de la rencontre et de sortir de chez soi, nous voulons être à la hauteur des enjeux de l'Église dans notre monde en mutation. Nous témoignons de notre affection et de notre souci à l'égard des jeunes générations africaines qui aspirent légitimement à une vie meilleure. Éminence, Excellences, distingués invités, pendant ces 4 jours, les pasteurs, les scientifiques, les hommes et les femmes du monde de l'éducation catholique, en constellation, réfléchiront et partageront les expériences afin de faire de l'éducation catholique en Afrique un moteur de changement à travers les signes visibles et concrets de l'espérance. Cela passera par les 4 thématiques, à savoir la dignité humaine, le bien commun, l'écologie et le renforcement de la articulation des valeurs africaines avec les valeurs évangéliques dans l'éducation catholique. Nous aurons également le temps d'écouter les conférences en plénière, des échanges sur ces thématiques, ainsi que les témoignages qui seront donnés par les femmes et les hommes engagés dans le congrès de l'éducation catholique en Afrique et ailleurs. Chaque jour, nous aurons des moments de prière pour que Dieu nous éclaire en permanence et féconde nos efforts pour sa gloire et pour le salut des hommes et des femmes de notre temps. Je vous souhaite un congrès de communion, de fraternité et d'espérance pour une Afrique meilleure et pour une Église qui féconde l'Afrique et le monde. Obrigado, thank you, merci, asanteni sana. Now I would like to introduce Reverend Father Anthony Makunde, Secretary General of AMESEA.
Your Eminences, Your Graces, Your Lordships, distinguished guests, all protocols observed. It is my honor to stand before you at the opening ceremonies of the Second African Congress on Catholic Education here at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa. This is not only an honor for the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, but also a moment of pride for the entire AMESEA region as we gather to host such a significant event. I bring you the warm greetings of the chairman of AMESEA, Right Reverend Charles Kasonde, the Bishop of Solwezi in Zambia, who also serves as the chancellor of this great university. He received your kind invitation while undertaking solidarity visits to several member conferences. Having been away from his diocese for a number of weeks, he is unfortunately unable to be present with us today. Nevertheless, he sends his heartfelt greetings, his blessings, and a word of encouragement to all actors in Catholic education and to all participants in this Congress. AMESEA is one of the 8 regional episcopal associations that coordinate the pastoral and social mission of the Church in Africa, all under the umbrella of SECAM. Since its establishment in 1961, with 5 pioneer member conferences, it has grown steadily to comprise 8 episcopal conferences spanning 9 countries, with Djibouti and Somalia as affiliate members. Our secretariat, located here in Nairobi, the heart of Eastern Africa, animates and coordinates our shared mission. To support this mission, AMESEA has established several institutions which serve not only our region, but the African Church at large. Among these are the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, where we are now, the AMESEA Pastoral Institute, and the AMESEA Blessed Bakanja Seminary. These institutions reflect our commitment to formation, research, and pastoral capacity building. The theme of this Congress, Catholic Education and the Promotion of Science of Hope in the African Context, is timely and deeply relevant to our contemporary society. Africa, rich in its beauty, cultures, peoples, landscapes, and resources, remains a continent full of immense promise. This Congress calls us to reflect on how Catholic education can illuminate and strengthen this science of hope. Recent statistics of the Catholic Church show a steadily increase in the number of Catholics across the African continent. This growth reminds us of our ongoing mission to root the gospel ever more deeply in the lives of our people, always in dialogue with our rich and diverse cultures. Both special synods on Africa underlined the critical role of African theologians, educators, and institutions in planning, nurturing, and articulating the faith in ways that truly resonate with the African heart and experience. And this is re-emphasized by Pope Francis, who called for quality education imbued with African identity. Education has always been a cornerstone of the evangelizing mission of the Church in Africa since the early missionary era. Historical accounts tells us that in 1925, the bishops of Tanganyika, the now Tanzania, one of the founding AMESEA conferences, sought advice from Rome on which priority to pursue. The guidance they received was clear, I quote, "If a choice must be made between building a school and building a church, priority should be given to building a school," end of quote. Education, after all, is a privileged expression of the teaching ministry of Jesus in its various forms. Today, statistics indicate that the number of Catholic learning institutions at various levels across Africa far exceeds those owned by the governments or private sector. The Church has done and continues to do so a commendable job in forming society from nursery and primary schools to colleges and universities. All but one AMESEA member countries now has a Catholic university owned or promoted by the bishops and religious congregations, offering diverse fields of study, including social sciences, engineering, agriculture, business, and medical sciences, without mentioning ecclesiastical faculties. Catholic schools have formed generations, inspired multitudes, and helped shape leaders at local, national, and international levels. We extend our deepest gratitude to the promoters, managers, teachers, instructors, and lecturers who carry out this noble work on behalf of the Catholic community across our continent. We also thank the parents who continue to trust the Church
with the formation of their children, and also to the students at various levels of Catholic education, we express our appreciation for their willingness to be formed and molded into responsible and relevant contributors to society. In a rapidly evolving world shaped by technological advancement, Catholic schools and universities must continue to innovate boldly, lest they fall behind. The Church in Africa has every reason to invest even more deeply in education if we are to reach and surpass the standards already attained elsewhere. This second African Congress on Catholic Education offers us a vital forum to reflect, strategize, and move forward together. I wish each one of you a fruitful, inspiring, and successful Congress. May your reflections and discussions in the coming days strengthen our shared mission and contribute to a stronger, wiser, and more vibrant church in Africa. Thank you. May God bless Africa and God bless Amesea. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Father. Now we are going to invite, in the name of the International Foundation, Religions and Society, His Excellency Bernard Laurent Taillard, Co-President North of this organization, to come and to open officially this Congress.
So, in my quality of co-president of the International Societies, Foundation, Religions and Societies, I declare that the Second African Congress on Catholic Education is open.
Yeah, after this great act, we are now going to follow to listen to the first keynote speaker, who is His Eminence Fridolin Cardinal Ambongo, Archbishop of Kinshasa and the President of SECAM.
L'Église, famille de Dieu en Afrique, face aux souffrances des Africains. Contribution à l'éducation catholique. Éminence, Excellence, Révérend Père, chers professeurs, chers étudiants, mais ils ne sont pas là. Révérendes sœurs, distingués invités, chers participants à ce deuxième congrès africain sur l'éducation catholique. Je vous salue de tout cœur et avec beaucoup de joie fraternelle, je tiens à exprimer ma sincère gratitude à l'Université catholique d'Afrique de l'Est, au Collège universitaire de Tangaza, au collège universitaire d'Ekima et à la Fondation internationale Religion et Société pour leur généreux engagement dans l'organisation de cette importante rencontre continentale. Votre dévouement concrétise la conviction de l'Église que l'éducation n'est pas seulement une tâche académique, mais un profond acte d'espérance pour nos peuples. Ce deuxième congrès africain sur l'éducation catholique s'est réuni à un moment d'urgence et de responsabilité pour l'Église en Afrique. Comme indiqué, notre tâche consiste précisément à discerner comment l'éducation catholique peut répondre plus efficacement aux souffrances, aux aspirations et aux profondes transformations qui façonnent aujourd'hui le continent. Les défis qui nous attendent sociaux, politiques, économiques, écologiques et culturels exigent de nous pas des ajustements superficiels, mais une vision renouvelée. Comme le rappelle le Concile Vatican II dans Gravissimus Educationis, la véritable éducation vise à la formation de la personne humaine en vue de la réalisation de sa fin ultime et du bien de société dont elle est membre. Ces congrès nous réunit précisément pour approfondir cette mission à un moment où l'Afrique a plus que jamais besoin d'éducation qui forme des consciences capables de servir le bien commun. Notre réflexion d'aujourd'hui s'inscrit pleinement dans le prolongement du travail fondateur accompli lors du premier congrès africain sur l'éducation catholique qui s'est tenu à Abidjan en décembre 2023. Cette assemblée historique a donné naissance au Pacte africain pour l'éducation, une étape importante dans la mise en œuvre du Pacte mondial pour l'éducation du pape François. La déclaration d'Abidjan appelait à la mise en place des structures continentales pour soutenir cette mise en œuvre, cadres de coordination, centres de recherche, mécanismes régionaux et stratégies visant à renforcer la collaboration entre les conférences épiscopales et les institutions catholiques. Selon les termes du texte d'Abidjan, l'Afrique s'est engagée à repenser et renouveler l'éducation catholique comme une responsabilité continentale partagée. Ainsi, notre congrès ici à Nairobi n'est pas un événement isolé. Il s'inscrit dans la continuation d'un cheminement ecclésial, intellectuel et pastoral, un cheminement ancré dans la vision formulée à Abidjan et qui s'oriente désormais vers une réception plus profonde, une créativité plus audacieuse et une action concrète. Comme l'affirme le théologien congolais Benezet Budjo dans son ouvrage « La théologie africaine dans son contexte social », L'avenir de l'Afrique repose sur une éducation qui forme des personnes capables de vivre en véritable communion, d'exercer un leadership responsable et de contribuer à la transformation de la société. Aujourd'hui, nous nous réunissons précisément pour faire progresser cette mission. 2. La souffrance et les réalités du peuple africain aujourd'hui. Chers frères et sœurs, parler aujourd'hui de l'éducation catholique en Afrique exige que nous ouvrions d'abord nos yeux et nos cœurs aux souffrances concrètes de nos peuples. L'Église, en tant que famille de Dieu en Afrique, ne peut rester indifférente aux blessures qui marquent le quotidien de millions de personnes sur notre continent. Dans de nombreuses régions, les communautés continuent de subir des conséquences dévastatrices des conflits armés, du terrorisme, des violences ethniques et de l'insécurité persistante. La pauvreté structurelle et le chômage croissant pèsent lourdement sur les familles, tandis que la fragilité économique et les systèmes politiques injustes sapent la cohésion sociale et le bien commun. Nous ne pouvons ignorer la corruption qui érode la confiance dans les institutions publiques, ni le déplacement forcé d'hommes, de femmes et d'enfants fuyant la violence ou cherchant une vie digne au-delà de nos frontières. Les urgences climatiques, sécheresses, saisons imprévisibles, inondations et dégradations constantes des écosystèmes menacent les moyens de subsistance et créent de nouvelles formes de vulnérabilité. Parallèlement, le creusement du fossé technologique et numérique risque d'exclure toute une génération de la pleine participation à la société mondiale du savoir. Face à ces réalités, l'Église est attentive à ce que le pape François appelle le cri des pauvres qui devient notre propre cri. Evangelii Gaudium, numéro 11. Ce cri n'est pas un simple constat sociologique, c'est un appel théologique, une convocation à la conversion, à la solidarité et à l'action. En tant que pasteurs et éducateurs, nous sommes appelés à lire les signes de temps à la lumière de l'Évangile, en reconnaissant que les blessures de l'Afrique ne sont pas des défis abstraits, mais l'expérience vécue de la présence du Christ dans la souffrance de son peuple. L'Église en Afrique, fidèle à sa vocation, a la responsabilité pastorale de cheminer avec ses fils et ses filles, d'accompagner leur combat et de leur offrir des voies de paix, de justice et d'espérance. 3. La mission de l'Église et le rôle prophétique de l'éducation catholique. L'éducation catholique est au cœur de la mission de l'Église en Afrique, car elle unit l'évangélisation à la formation intégrale de la personne humaine. Comme l'enseigne le Concile Vatican II dans Gravissimus Educationis, une véritable éducation vise à former la personne humaine en vue de la réalisation de sa fin ultime et du bien de société dont elle est membre. Cela signifie que nos écoles et universités ne sont pas de simples institutions académiques, ce sont des communautés de foi et de culture, des lieux où l'Évangile éclaire la raison et où le savoir est mis au service de la justice, de la paix et de l'épanouissement humain. À l'heure où tant d'Africains souffrent de blessures de la division, de la pauvreté et de l'exclusion, l'éducation catholique devient un espace privilégié pour affirmer la dignité humaine. Le pape François nous rappelle dans Fratelli Tutti que tout être humain possède une dignité inaliénable, une vérité qui doit animer toute entreprise éducative, de la salle des classes aux instances dirigeantes de l'université. Une éducation authentiquement catholique libère ainsi. Elle affranchit l'esprit de l'ignorance, les cœurs de la peur et la communauté des structures d'oppression. Lors du récent jubilé de l'éducation à Rome, le pape Léon XIV a réaffirmé la conviction de l'Église que l'éducation est un droit universel et une voie vers la dignité restaurée, insistant sur le fait qu'aucun enfant ne doit être privé de la lumière du savoir, car l'éducation est le premier instrument d'espérance. Ces paroles nous incitent à veiller à ce que l'éducation catholique en Afrique demeure inclusive, accessible, missionnaire et profondément transformatrice. En ce sens, nos écoles et universités sont appelées à être ce que le pape François a si justement décrit comme des hôpitaux de campagne, non seulement pour l'âme, mais aussi pour l'esprit et le tissu social. Ce sont des lieux où les traumatismes se guérissent, où l'espoir renaît et où les consciences se forment pour devenir des artisans de paix, de réconciliation et de bien commun. Par l'éducation catholique, l'Église en Afrique forme des générations capables de transformer la société, de témoigner de l'Évangile et de bâtir un avenir digne de la dignité et du destin de notre continent. 4. Synodalité et vision continentale. Un paradigme renouvelé pour l'éducation catholique. À la lumière du cheminement synodal que poursuit l'Église universelle, l'éducation catholique en Afrique est appelée à incarner une pédagogie fondée sur l'écoute, le dialogue et le discernement partagé. Le pape François, de bienheureuse mémoire, lors de son discours d'ouverture du synode en 2021, a déclaré qu'une église synodale est une église de rencontre, d'écoute et d'accompagnement. Nos écoles, séminaires et universités doivent donc devenir de véritables laboratoires de fraternité, des lieux où les jeunes Africains apprennent l'art de la participation, la réflexion éthique, la pensée critique et la citoyenneté responsable. Cette vision est profondément théologique car elle reflète l'essence même de la Trinité, communion, réciprocité et mission. L'éducation catholique, comprise à travers cette perspective synodale, forme des jeunes capables de construire la paix, de dialoguer par-delà les différences, d'exercer un leadership éthique et de servir le bien commun. C'est une éducation qui prépare les Africains non seulement à affronter les blessures de leur société, mais aussi à devenir des artisans de réconciliation et d'espérance. Cet horizon synodal converge harmonieusement avec les engagements formulés dans la déclaration d'Abidjan en 2023, où l'Église en Afrique a adopté le pacte africain pour l'éducation, appelant à la mise en place des structures d'accueil, de formation, de recherche et de coordination à tous les niveaux de la vie ecclésiale. Ces engagements trouvent une force supplémentaire dans la vision 2025-2050 du SECAM, qui a identifié l'éducation comme un pilier essentiel pour promouvoir le développement humain intégral, l'autonomisation des jeunes, la conversion écologique, la gouvernance éthique et la transformation numérique. Comme l'affirme la déclaration d'Abidjan, l'Afrique doit former des générations capables de façonner un continent réconcilié, autonome et missionnaire. L'éducation catholique se trouve donc au cœur de la transformation de l'Afrique. Elle offre non seulement les savoirs, mais aussi la formation morale et spirituelle nécessaire pour former des dirigeants capables d'affronter les crises du continent, violence, corruption, dégradation écologique, polarisation, avec courage, créativité et foi. Ainsi, l'éducation catholique devient le cœur battant d'une Afrique nouvelle, réconciliée, innovante et enracinée dans l'Évangile. 5. La contribution de l'éducation catholique à la guérison des souffrances africaines. L'éducation catholique est l'un des instruments les plus puissants que l'Église met au service d'un continent meurtri. Face aux conflits, à la pauvreté, à l'injustice, à la destruction écologique et à la fracture des structures sociales, l'éducation devient une œuvre de restauration, un acte d'espérance en action. Comme l'affirment depuis longtemps des penseurs tels que Paulo Freire, brésilien, l'éducation n'est jamais neutre. Elle domestique ou elle libère. Dans le contexte actuel de l'Afrique, l'éducation catholique doit être résolument libératrice, formant des citoyens qui reconnaissent leur dignité, assument leurs responsabilités pour le bien commun et contribuent à la reconstruction du tissu moral et social déchiré par des décennies de violence et d'instabilité. En ce sens, nos institutions éducatives sont appelées à incarner ce que le pape François décrit comme une culture de la solidarité capable de panser les plaies des individus et des peuples. Fratelli tutti. Nos écoles et universités sont donc bien plus que de simples espaces académiques. Ce sont des sanctuaires de guérison et des lieux d'épanouissement humain intégral. Elle offre un environnement bienveillant envers les jeunes marqués par la guerre ou les déplacements. Elle cultive l'éducation à la paix, l'éducation civique et un profond respect des droits humains. Elle promeut la responsabilité environnementale dans l'esprit de Laudato Si, apprenant à une nouvelle génération à prendre soin de la création. Elle prépare les étudiants, les élèves à s'inscrire à l'insertion professionnelle, à l'intégration numérique et à l'autonomisation économique, leur ouvrant la voie vers un avenir empreint de la dignité plutôt que de désespoir. Au cœur de tout cela se trouve l'engagement indéfectible de l'Église en faveur de l'option préférentielle pour le pauvre. L'éducation catholique en Afrique doit demeurer résolument accessible, inclusive et tournée vers ceux que la société abandonne. Car, comme le rappelle le pape François dans Evangelii Gaudium, les pauvres sont les destinataires privilégiés de l'Évangile. Dans cette mission, l'éducation catholique devient non seulement un service, mais un sacrement d'espérance pour l'avenir de l'Afrique. 6. Les défis actuels auxquels est confrontée l'éducation catholique en Afrique. L'éducation catholique en Afrique se trouve à un tournant décisif, confrontée à des défis structurels et systématiques qui limitent sa capacité à servir pleinement le plus vulnérable. De nombreuses familles peinent encore à accéder à une éducation de qualité, privant ainsi d'innombrables enfants, notamment dans les zones rurales et les régions touchées par les conflits, d'un enseignement de qualité. Parallèlement, de nombreuses institutions sont confrontées à un besoin urgent d'enseignants et d'administrateurs bien formés, imprégnés d'une forte identité catholique et d'une excellente pédagogie. Comme le souligne le pape Benoît XIV dans Africe Munus, la formation des éducateurs est essentielle car ils façonnent les consciences droites capables de construire une société juste. Nos écoles et universités sont également confrontées à des infrastructures inadéquates, à un fossé numérique grandissant et un rythme effréné de mutations technologiques qui menacent de laisser les apprenants africains pour compte. Les questions de pérennité et de financement demeurent cruciales, en particulier pour les institutions qui accueillent le plus démunis, tandis que la protection de l'enfance, un leadership éthique et une gouvernance transparente exigent une vigilance constante. Ces défis sont exacerbés par la demande croissante d'enseignement catholique sur le continent, un signe d'espoir qui met néanmoins à rude épreuve les ressources limitées de nombreux diocèses, congrégations et institutions. Pour répondre fidèlement à cette demande, l'enseignement catholique doit renouveler ses structures, renforcer sa mission et investir résolument dans les ressources humaines et matérielles nécessaires pour accompagner la jeunesse africaine vers un avenir digne de son identité. 7. Signes d'espoir et opportunités émergentes. Malgré les immenses défis auxquels notre continent est confronté, l'Église en Afrique se trouve face à un avenir plein de promesses. Notre jeunesse, dynamique, résiliente et créative, demeure l'un des plus grands trésors de l'Afrique. Avec près de 60% de sa population âgée de moins de 25 ans, l'Afrique possède un capital humain sans égal qui, s'il est formé de manière intégrale et holistique, peut transformer les nations de l'intérieur. Le pape François nous rappelle souvent que les jeunes sont l'espérance de l'Église et du monde. Et cela est particulièrement vrai sur notre continent. Nous constatons également un développement encourageant des institutions catholiques d'enseignement supérieur et universitaire et une multiplication de partenariats continentaux qui renforcent la collaboration intellectuelle et la recherche partagée. Les innovations en matière d'apprentissage numérique, de pédagogie hybride et d'outils technologiques ouvrent de nouvelles perspectives d'inclusion, permettant à l'éducation catholique d'atteindre des communautés autrefois exclues en raison de l'éloignement ou de la pauvreté. De même, la coopération renouvelée entre les diocèses, les congrégations religieuses, les universités et les partenaires internationaux consolide notre mission collective. Le pacte africain pour l'éducation symbolise un véritable renouveau de la vie éducative africaine, appelant à la créativité, à la solidarité et à une vision continentale unifiée pour former la prochaine génération de dirigeants africains. 8. Un appel à l'action. Renouveler l'éducation catholique pour un continent blessé. En ce moment décisif de l'histoire de l'Afrique, je lance un appel vibrant à toute la communauté éducative de l'Église, évêques, supérieurs majeurs, recteurs, je dirais aussi vice-chancelier, éducateurs, décideurs politiques, gouvernements et laïcs engagés. Les souffrances de notre continent exigent un engagement renouvelé et courageux envers l'éducation catholique, mission transformatrice. Nous devons renforcer la gouvernance, la transparence et la responsabilité dans toutes nos institutions en veillant à ce que la lumière de l'Évangile guide non seulement notre enseignement, mais aussi notre administration et notre service. Comme l'a déclaré le pape François lors de son discours au Pacte mondial sur l'éducation, le 12 septembre 2019, les éducateurs sont les artisans de l'avenir. Ils bâtissent demain en formant les cœurs d'aujourd'hui. Cette responsabilité requiert créativité, clairvoyance et fidélité à la mission de l'Église. Pour penser les plaies de l'Afrique, nous devons bâtir une stratégie continentale pour une éducation juste, qui privilégie la formation des enseignants, élargisse l'accès au numérique, protège le plus vulnérable et place les pauvres au cœur de notre mission. Nos écoles et nos universités doivent devenir des moteurs d'innovation, des lieux où les jeunes Africains acquièrent non seulement des connaissances, mais aussi le sens de responsabilité éthique et civique, ainsi que la profondeur spirituelle nécessaire à la reconstruction de nos sociétés. Investir dans les enseignants, les technologies et les communautés les plus démunies n'est pas une option, mais un impératif évangélique. L'éducation catholique doit s'affirmer comme un engagement missionnaire audacieux en faveur de la paix, de la dignité et de l'avenir de l'Afrique. Ici et maintenant, l'Église doit oser croire qu'une Afrique nouvelle est possible et que ce renouveau prendra racine dans les salles des classes, salles de cours, les aumôneries, les centres de recherche et dans le cœur des élèves, des étudiants confiés à nos soins. Conclusion. Chers frères et sœurs, alors que nous arrivons au terme de cette réflexion, je tiens à réaffirmer avec une profonde conviction que face aux nombreuses souffrances de l'Afrique, l'Église demeure une mère qui marche avec ses enfants. Elle écoute leurs cris, porte leurs fardeaux et les accompagne avec compassion, sagesse et espérance. Notre engagement envers l'éducation catholique est l'une des expressions les plus concrètes de cette présence maternelle qui forme les consciences, guérit les blessures et fortifie les tissus moraux et spirituels de nos sociétés. Dans cette noble mission, notre espérance demeure fermement ancrée en Christ, la lumière qui brille dans les ténèbres et les ténèbres ne l'ont point reçue. Jean 1, 5. C'est cette lumière infaillible qui doit guider nos éducations et nos éducateurs, inspirer nos élèves et soutenir toutes nos institutions face aux défis de notre époque avec courage et intégrité. Je confie les étudiants, les élèves, les enseignants, les familles et les institutions éducatives d'Afrique à la protection maternelle de Marie, siège de la sagesse et mère de l'Afrique, afin qu'elle intercède pour nous et accompagne nos efforts pour bâtir un écosystème éducatif qui promeuve la justice, la dignité et la paix pour tous. Que l'Esprit Saint éclaire nos réflexions, fortifie notre détermination et guide notre continent vers un avenir d'espérance, de réconciliation et d'un engagement renouvelé au service de l'Évangile. Que Dieu bénisse l'Afrique. Je vous remercie.
Let us once again put our hands together to His Eminence, Cardinal Ambongo. Thank you very much, Your Eminence, for your deeply enriching and inspiring address. We are truly grateful for your wisdom and the clarity you bring to the mission of the Catholic education in Africa. Asante sana, Your Eminence. Ladies and gentlemen, so far I think we are all excited and happy for the moment. Let us now take time to breathe, reflect, and carry forward the spirit of what has been shared so far. I request that we take some 20 minutes break, go freshen up a bit. We want to start Mass in the next maximum 20 minutes so that we celebrate Mass together. So we just take a short break, have a quick refreshment, and then come back for Mass. If we can come back by 12:30, it will be better. I propose through our guests here, we will have the group photo or the photo session immediately after Mass. Thank you very much. Santeni sana, and once again, welcome to the Second African Congress on Catholic Education. Thank you. Chaplain, if they take photos and press it will take long.